Hey guys, topic today. How do you get your guys on your team to be active, independent thinkers? So actually, I'm stealing some of this content from a YouTube clip that I've watched many, many times, probably the most watched YouTube clip that I've had in my self-development, and that is how to get guys that you work with or underneath you on your team to be actively independent and individual thinkers, because that's really what we want, right? If we don't get our guys on our teams to be independent thinkers, we're always the answer men, right? So every time they have a question, they got to grab your hand and have you come over there and answer their question or take care of their issue, basically hand-holding. And we want our guys to be able to solve the problems on their own by using their own logic and their own intelligence. So how do you get guys to do that? By the way, I'll put that link to that YouTube video in the content here somewhere, and I would encourage you to watch it. It's a clip about a retired submarine captain that was able to change how he gave his orders and to develop 140 active members of his team on his submarine, so that he wasn't always the answer man and always having to answer every question, and instead he was able to have guys that were trained and independent thinkers. So how do you get to that point? So we had a meeting this morning to talk about this issue, particularly with our managers and foremen, and we actually did a hypothetical scenario of a particular problem, and as I engaged with the one foreman, asked, so I'm an employee and I come to you and I say, hey, you're doing this detail here. Can you show me how to do it? Or actually the example was, I'm done with cleaning up in the ground. What do you want me to do next? And that's probably a very common question that you guys have on your job site is the cleanup guy or the guy that's lowest on the pole. He says, I'm done with such and such a task. What do you want me to do next? And right then and there, I asked my foreman, what would you say to that? And he says, well, I would have you go do this, or I would have you go do that. Go do some dry-in or go apply a particular product. And I told him, we've got to switch that mentality. We've got to stop giving them the answers right off the bat. Now, it sounds counterintuitive to say, why wouldn't you give them the answers? But by giving them the answers all the time, you don't allow them to independently think. So how do we get to that point instead of giving them the answers? Instead of giving them the answer right off the bat, you should replace it with a question. One question that I think would be good to ask is, what do you think should be done next? So when the guy asks the question, what do you want me to do next? You answer with, what do you think you should do next? And they're going to come back with something like, well, maybe I should go dry in something, or maybe I should go move such and such equipment. They will start coming up and developing their own answers. And at that point in time, you can kind of help them along and help them to decide to see if that's the right answer or the wrong answer. But giving them the answer right off the bat is not helping them to develop their ability of decision making, and it will help them develop better decision making skills and their independent thinking. So another question that you can ask them instead of giving the answers is if they're on the ground and then they're going to come up and help you, and they're kind of a helper or in a helper phase, you can say something like, what do you think I need? This area that I'm working here, what does it look like I need? What would be the next step in the process? Now, I know it kind of sounds like this is slowing the project down, but this is really going to get their mind engaged so that they can start thinking about the steps in a particular process. If you're on a big flat roof and you're putting down different parts of the system, these guys that are coming up in the ranks, they need to know what these particular parts and components of these systems are, and the only way they can learn that is if you allow them to figure it out kind of on their own. You can give them the answers, like I said, but it's going to take longer for them to retain that knowledge than if they discover it and figure it out on their own. So help them to engage their mind. And that one question would be, what do you think I need next? And then another question you can ask while a guy's helping you, say you're in a scenario where you're working on a detail or and this could be in the office environment, this can be on the job, this can be during sales, however, but you can ask them in the middle of a training exercise or something. You can say, why do you think I did that? Maybe it's a particular piece of flashing. Maybe it's installation of a type of product. And you can say, do you know why I did that? Why do you think I did that? And they're going to give you some reasons. I think it's probably because of this. It's probably because of that. And that's going to allow you to, once again, let them engage their mind into the activity that you're doing and figure something out. All this does is help them to develop independent thinking, problem solving, and there's a whole bunch of psychology behind this as far as neurology and neural pathways in the brain that I don't have. It's way above me, but there's a science behind this about problem solving is going to help them develop more independent thinking, and it's going to create a better employee for you, and it's going to help them be more engaged and more valuable in the future. So my challenge to you today is to start using these questions. Stop giving them all the answers. Allow them to figure stuff out on their own, and hope this helps you guys out. I encourage you to watch that link that I'm going to put down below, and I'm going to leave you with another book today. Which one am I going to leave you? Here's one, and this is completely separate from the topic I have today. This is the On Time, On Target Manager by, I believe, Ken Blanchard. And this is really good for people that, they say they constantly don't have time and maybe run late for their appointments or maybe overbook their appointments. This is good for you to realize everybody in the world has the same 24 hours in the day given to them. And this book is going to address how to prioritize and how to manage those times, those appointments and stuff. So it's a good read, and hope you guys got some value out of this. Once again, I would love it if you could share this post and like it. Hope you guys stay safe out there. Take it easy.